Good. I'd like to call the regular session meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Romanek?
Here.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Here.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Here.
Commissioner Watson?
Here.
Commissioner Ranello?
Present.
Please stand for the salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
Presentations.
Here, first is a presentation on Nab Avenue by County Commissioner Joseph Cilio.
Good evening, everybody.
There you go.
Can you hear it? Oh, there you go. That's much better. My name is Joe Cilio. I'm the director of the County of Cumberland. And I understand that there's some questions about Nab Avenue. And I want to just say hello to all the commissioners here, along with the Mayor Romanek. If you would do me a favor, to kind of cut things to the chase, what are some of the questions that maybe would be asked?
So my main question is, why should the residents of Millville pay for part of the design of Nab Avenue when we send the county approximately $20.5 million a year in property taxes, and realizing that Nab Avenue will not only benefit Millville, but will benefit the entire county, including the county government, by an increase in ratables when it's complete?
Okay, that's a very fair.
That's me cutting.
It's a fair assessment. Well, that's what we want anyway. It's a fair assessment. But also, it's understood that in a shared service agreement, that other townships and other cities also have done the same, have made the same agreement. For instance, the city of Vineland, who pays, you said, what, 20 million, was it? Okay. Pays more than the city of Millville. And they agreed to the Burns Avenue project for a shared service agreement, and we also paid on that, but they also paid towards quite a bit of it as well. So those are the kind of things that we're looking forward to doing in the future, where there is a skin in the game, let's say. And that's something that I think makes it more worthwhile for each township to take a look at, their projects that are at hand.
So I may disagree with you with that on a little bit, but I talked with Brock Russell today, and I will announce that we have a tentative agreement with the developer to pay for our portion of the design of Nab Avenue, as they will benefit from the project. So
Yeah, you had mentioned that. Yeah, 400,000, which is
Yeah.
an excellent contribution, and if that is how you plan to pay for it,
You don't
that's
care how
great.
we do it, as long as we do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I don't care if you take it out of your piggy bank.
That ain't enough. I'm not cashing in my 401k for you.
Come on, break that piggy, that's no problem. Are there any questions other than that when it comes to possibly the construction? Because this is an idea that's basically, like you just said, Commissioner Sui, is that this is an economic benefit to the county as well as the city. And there is so much more development that's not just Nab Avenue. We're looking at, the airport, we're looking at Buckshootum Road, we're looking at a lot of different avenues right now. I gave the mayor the wastewater treatment plant plan that was submitted in 2019. And we still have not heard from the DEP for almost 5
You
years.
mean the DEP takes a while to get something done?
Yeah. Well, another thing, South Avenue, for instance, in Bridgeton. We had passed the resolution and also have design. Mr. Whitaker, would you like to just confirm on that?
Yes.
And we're still waiting from the Army Corps of Engineers for almost 2 years now.
And as you'll recall with the design, we met with Bell Nurseries, the owner of the land that we want to go through.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of wanted us to go straight, not do a roundabout, that ramp we were talking about before and all that.
Right.
So I think at the meeting you agreed to that.
Well, the straight through, as straight through as best we
Basically
can.
straight.
Yes. I think it swerves a little bit too,
It swerves us slightly
Little
to the right, I
northbound first?
guess.
Just has to, in order to hit the two roads at 90 degrees, it has a slight curve in the middle.
right. Other than that,
Most
that's,
direct method
yes.
Most direct method to where?
to go, to minimize the impacts of Bell Nurseries, and it's the most direct route from 49 to $2 River Road.
Well, I think if you look at that design that you had that we discussed at that
Mm-hmm.
meeting, if you look at that, that required a roundabout on DEP land, which,
We don't have a roundabout on that.
no, you changed.
There was
that.
3 different designs.
There was 3 different
Potentially,
designs,
Right.
correct.
roundabout would just impact the one corner that was
Dude,
not.
I mean, you weren't at the meeting with Bell Nurseries, correct? I don't believe you were
I
there.
was at some of the meetings.
Not the one where you went with me, I think Mr. Capari was there.
No,
Maybe
no.
You were there.
I was there at that one,
Yeah.
yes.
So that plan kind of went straight across and would probably be the cheapest method.
That's
because
correct.
it's less distance to go, it doesn't have a.
That's the one that
60-foot
we're
curve or
actually
whatever.
looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that seems to be the best alternate as far as land grabs, if there are any, God forbid we don't want to do that, but also as far as other properties that are involved.
yeah, it's only one property we'd have to go
Ex-
through. We don't
exactly.
have to go through any more than that one property, and they're very amenable to doing that.
So other than that, that's basically the progress that we're seeing. What's important is that this idea of Nab Avenue goes back further than even before I came commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a good idea, and it should help the city of Millville many times over. And we're hoping that this can move forward. Unfortunately, the way the DEP forms, I mean, I'm 65, I might be retired and dead by the time they actually,
Well,
get in
that's why you
action.
won't need as many approvals if you go straight through the nursery instead of trying to approach on your land, because we'll all be dead 10 times before they give approval to go.
I
through
think
their
if you
land.
were not to do a darn thing and not buy the property, it'd still drag your feet on the situation
Yeah, I
too.
don't, the pace of this is very concerning to me because, we're right where we were, what we knew we had to do 2 years ago, and we're still,
Well, I mean, in all intents and purposes, I
what
mean,
a transparency, I'm giving it to you.
yeah, that's, hey, I love it, so it's not a big deal. But as far as you're concerned on the aspect of what the county plays in, you need to just tell us how far you want us to go, and we'll be more than happy to accommodate you in any other way.
Okay.
So thank you, guys. Very much appreciate your help and time.
Director, if I can, I've had a few residents reach out to me previously, not just since this was scheduled. Can you answer any questions that might be from the residents that are here?
To set in the Nab Avenue?
Yeah.
I may not be able to answer them, but possibly my engineer can, if it's land related and,
Mayor, can we open that up to the public?
I don't think they were, not expecting that.
No, this is just a presentation by
All right.
Director
okay. Well,
Cilio to
well, thank
us.
you. All right, Kurt, no problem. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Commissioner Cilio.
Okay, the next item is a presentation by the engineering department on the collapsed hangar at the Millville Airport.
Can I address this before we start?
Go ahead.
So, in the lease with the DRBA, they're responsible for the buildings, to maintain the buildings that are there. This is going to be very enlightening to the public as far as how much maintenance they do. And, we looked at this building to move into, and thankfully, they wanted an outrageous sum because we were getting ready to make that decision. So, that's about all I have. You can see what the DRBA is up to. As you know, the lease runs out in 5 years, and we have to let them know what we're doing in October.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner Sui, Commissioners Brock, Genie, residents. We just want to present to you some information we have on the airport hangar. I always like to say that time is your biggest adversary, especially in building maintenance and, care of properties and infrastructure. Here's an aerial image. I don't know if we can see it with the lights off now, though.
Oh, sorry.
From February, showing, sorry, Michelle, I blocked it right out.
You guys don't have it on the computer?
We do.
Bring it up on there.
Sure.
This aerial is from February of '24. The building, was in, fairly stable condition. There was some wrinkles evident in the bowstring roofing system from settlement. It was in May that we went into the building, and at that time we discovered that there was a column under the bowstring truss that was in a state of decay and beginning to collapse and settle. At that time, we issued a hazardous building alert that went out to the DRBA. And this was like a punch in the gut to me, myself. in 133 days, nothing happened. And after that, the building collapsed. So we're not very happy. We're pretty upset because this was a nice building. We were even considering, moving into it at one point, parks and public properties. So building maintenance is key. This was a bowstring, arch building, originally a hangar, constructed during World War II. The side bays were added probably, after the war for extra storage, but the central hangar was for,
Wayne, I'm sorry,
storing aircraft.
can you hold the microphone to, because they can't hear, they're not picking it up on
sorry.
YouTube, sorry.
I'm too far away. But anyway, we have a presentation to go through a timeline, of what happened out there at the hangar, showing photographs, before and after. The building now is, red tagged. The center bays are collapsed, more than 50% back. It's beyond the point of salvaging the center bay. Now you have to demolish the entire center section up to the midpoint. Possibly you could reconstruct it, but the cost of reconstruction are, above what we could, possibly absorb. So we just want to make sure everybody's aware of this situation and what's going on. Also, the hangar, to the west by those jets, when we're out there's a giant mezzanine deck, second floor deck that's in a state of collapse, in over half of the building. The buttress concrete walls are deteriorating and cracking. There's open holes in the roof structure, so it's open to the weather. So that building's not being maintained properly either.
Wayne, is that the one that basically has open access to it, but not secured?
That building,
Building right there?
the building next to the jets is inside the FAA fence line.
Okay.
It's actually in part of the airport. It's next to, $30 million jets.
Okay.
So we have a building that's, red tagged right now. So 2 buildings are red tagged out there and closed off. So Michelle has the PowerPoint. We're going to go through it. And if there's any questions, please stop us in the middle of the slide, and we'd be happy to answer questions. We're all very familiar with the structure. We've been there numerous times. There's a giant gaping hole in the roof right now, and only several months ago I was standing up there looking at it. So thankfully no one did move in that building, or we could have had someone seriously hurt. So thankfully for that. So Michelle, you want to go back to the beginning and start going through the PowerPoint?
Sure. Just the opening slide. So for our bearings, if anybody doesn't know exactly where we're at, because I didn't know exactly what we were talking about until it presented itself in our department. For reference, the Moose Lodge is almost directly across the street from Bogdan Boulevard. It's a good landmark coming into the airport. On the back end, Vernus Flight Line, it kind of sandwiches Moose Lodge and Vernus. If you draw a straight line across, you're running directly into that building. I believe there's gated access to enter that way. There's some secured buildings there, but the orange circle, that's the hangar in question. And then just to give you some bearings on Cedarville Road, Big Sky Aviation, that main driveway off of Cedarville Road, directly behind that, that's where the hangar is located, just to get our bearings if anybody's not familiar. And then the image to the right, we're addressing front and rear of the building. Rear is towards the planes, towards Big Sky Aviation. The front is where you would obviously enter, where parking would be, main parking. That's where our whole department, when we went into the building for inspection before it collapsed, that's where we went through. So just to get our bearings, we address rear and front of this building. Some quick specs. The hangar is 22,500 square feet, approximately. It's composed of 3 different structures, 2 gable roofs running parallel to one another, and 1 barrel roof in the center that joins the 2 together. So think of it as 3 structures sharing 1 roof and 1 perimeter around the exterior. Either side of the barrel roofs is a valley with each gable roofs connecting into the barrel. So if you can imagine, half circle and then 2 roofs on either side, pointed A-frame roofs. They're connected precariously now, but they are connected, and they are corrugated steel panels.
Now, one thing that's interesting, important to note, is the center original hangar area is constructed with the bowstring trusses. Those were usually built on site by carpenters and craftsmen. That's a wooden structure. The exterior side gable areas are rigid steel columns and metal trusses. So it's a different kind of construction, showing that it was built later on.
Okay. This is an aerial from Nearmap from March 30th, 2016. You can see there's some wear and tear on some of these areas here. Let's see if I can get this pen to work to better pointer. Let's see, laser pointer. In here, this is your barrel here, your barrel roof in this section. You kind of see it's half seas with some waterproofing. Up here, the light gray area. And then poly coated, painted numerous times, flaking. But that's the one side of the barrel. These right here, this is the peaks of the one gable that's running parallel with the barrel, and as well over here. So it's kind of mismatched. It's kind of been duct tape and Band-Aid together to glue the three structures together to create one roof. So February 2016, February 16, 2024, excuse me. This is a more recent aerial. You can kind of see wear and tear. We can do a little back and forth. You can notice in this area here is where the severe damage is coming, although the whole roof structure is not in good shape. You see some pooling here in the weather stripping. Think of thick rubber, like thick tarp. That's kind of what's happening here. The adhesion is gone and it's starting to ripple. You can see some mold and mildew starting. And then over here on this coated areas, it's all flaking. You can see some deterioration if you go back and forth. Recently, our whole department went out on May 6th this year. More specifically, Wayne got on the roof. Thank God it was still intact. Took these pictures. So this is a picture of the slope roof on the south side of the facility on the gable construction portion. This is the coating that was applied over the metal and is flaked and faded away in many areas. And the APP membrane, which stands for, we wrote it down.
Static polypropylene.
Right, that waterproofing, fancy words for waterproofing membrane.
It's like a modified roofing material. It's hot applied.
So hot asphalt kind of smeared on, weatherproofing. And all of this is flaking. It's starting to undermine the aluminum and the fasteners. Another picture of the Southern Valley, and valley, I mean the low spot here. This is your peak of your one gabled side, this valley here. These valleys are the main point of deterioration and failure. You can see the old APP membrane, and this is installed over wood substrate, so not very durable, especially not long-term. It was coated at one time. Again, most of the reflective coating, as you would find on roofs, is weathered away, and there is some ponding water, but not substantial. I don't believe there's any water in this picture, as it was dry that week we went, but in general, there is ponding and there's signs of water laying here. This is the roofing membrane, the thick apron plastic tarp, if you want to call it, very thick. The adhesion, it kind of sticks down with glue. You can clearly see here. We can zoom in a little bit. These pictures are for your reference. You can see it's all peeled up. It's starting to ripple. In these areas here, get the laser pointer. Oh, nope, it doesn't like a zoomed in laser. In here, there's some rippling, so you can see that the adhesion is all coming off. It's starting to slip. It's peeled up with wind damage. And then the plywood sheathing is losing its integrity through the aluminum fasteners that are starting to rust. So this is a valley here, and this is one of the main points of failure, as we'll see in the next coming pictures.
After that inspection, we had recommended that cribbing or structural scaffolding be installed below the bowstring truss to hold it in place. I've done this on numerous jobs, where you have a column failure, the truss from the load, it deflects downward, you jack it back up into place to stabilize the building. And had those recommendations been followed back then, this building could have been saved.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes,
So,
sir.
and Mr. Russell, that was the responsibility of the DRBA, and you sent them a letter to ask them to do that, right? We sent the DRBA a letter asking them to take care of the problems.
We have about certain issues. The most recent letter didn't concern that. It concerned a stormwater runoff.
Yeah, we also sent one about this building, I believe, correct?
We may have done that in the
Yeah.
past, yeah.
Because it's the DRBA's responsibility to maintain the buildings that are in that area, that are within the bounds of that lease.
Vice Mayor, if I may, we have the email here from May 7th. The site inspection was May 6th, and we immediately reported it to DRBA in an email from May 7th. Subject line, hazardous building alert. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory for that email.
Glad to see they heeded that.
Again, this is May 6th, so this was the condition of the building then. It only gets worse. The supporting structure for the roof has failed, leading to the barrel roof structure to drop approximately 1 foot. It's kind of hard to see in perspective here, but if you can imagine, this is the distance of it dropping. You can see the sagging and the barrel roof, or on the barrel roof for perspective. Here's the pointed gables here, the apex of the gable. You can see that it's broken off, sunken in, and all the weatherproofing is completely removed from that area. Here's an up close, so you can see some of the fasteners. Completely deteriorated, weather damage, wind damage, integrity completely lost. This is a view from the inside. And of course, if you see daylight inside of a building, you know that's not good. Our whole department was there for inspection, and that was not a good sign for us. Thankfully, there was no problems that day. This is the valley. This is this portion of valley here. This is where we're at, directly under this. And then inside, you can see the barrel roof where it connects into the gable. There's the rounded roof. There's your apex over here. This apex line, that's where the two structures are connected. And then, as Wayne was saying, those wooden portions are connected into steel structure. This was done by a carpenter, long span, and it connects into this steel structure here. This is already collapsed at this point. Again, this is May 6th. It's all the same site visit, and it only gets worse. This is what we reported that the DRBA should be aware of. So a solution was offered by our department and some consulting input. All roofing options would not be possible without repairs or reconstruction of the building structure. So first and foremost, the structure is bad. The structure is barely hanging on, let alone the roof. But we were addressing the roof that was clearly a hole in it. The roof can't get fixed until your full-on superstructure is addressed. The roof replacement solution assumes that the structural repairs are possible and can be performed either before or alongside the roofing operation. Then the re-roofing options laid out are for the roof installation only and assume that the structural work is accounted for separately. So we can only analyze the roof and what we could give, but it is recommended by both our consultant and our department that a structural engineer formally evaluate this building for the structure. A complete re-roof is necessary for this building, and at this point is necessary. Removal of all the existing roofing membrane, plywood overlay, and the cricket structures, which are the low points of the valleys that make high points to continue to run. So the low point is in the whole low point. That's what a cricket is. That these crickets and all be removed, and that this, obviously the structural repairs be addressed. Partial roof deck replacement is likely needed on the barrel structure. Seems how it's wooden and deteriorated in those very obvious spots. And the wood frame crickets, like I said, they're the low spots, high spots. They need to be replaced as well. However, the distance is very extreme on that barrel structure in between the gables, the gabled sections. Therefore, installation of internal roof drains and at the valleys is suggested to improve drainage. Therefore, the crickets direct and divert water from the low spots, so the low spots aren't as low. We're going to take, and we suggest that a roof drain be installed to completely remove that water and get it out of there, shuttle it out off to the outskirts of the building.
These were recommendations prior to the collapse that just occurred, so, they're really not applicable any longer.
Yeah, this is what we had lined up and in the works that our department worked on and the city worked on to advise DRBA with our findings. So the site visit for August 22nd and 28th, we graciously had the fire department, and we got to, well, not we, Wayne got to enjoy a ride on the new fire truck, however many feet high up, and got these lovely aerial pictures. This is a view, an overview. Let's zoom in here if we can. to see. This is that original area that I said, the bad spot. We were looking up with the light through the roof. That got worse. That's more than a foot of sag now. That's a whole heck of a lot more than a foot.
Probably about 2 feet from the floor. The truss is about 2 feet off the bottom of the floor, the concrete slab on grade.
Right.
So it's completely, collapsed. One truss bay. The subsequent bays are falling down. There's stresses running through all the purlins in the building. You can see, the purlins are in a state of horizontal shear failure from cracks opening up along the length. So the building is stressed, from the west side to the east. It's a hazard. No one should go in it. It probably needs to be taken down with an excavator with a grapple on the end, for safety. So it's past the point of repairing now.
Here's another photo. You can see the sagging in that same area, just a different perspective. Significant deterioration and sagging in this one spot. Here's an overview. We can zoom in a smidge more so you get a closer look, but general idea, just more of an overview. That's kind of the barrel structure. You can also see sagging here. If we go back, sorry, I can't double duty with the laser pen and the zoom, but in this area, you can see where Wayne was talking about, there's other sagging of the portion of the barrel structure. This area here, you can see a terrible bend, like an S is starting to form, where the main structure is. Through here, support, all this is ready to go too. It's starting all to bow in these areas. And that's a cricket right there, if anybody is interested. This is the internal view of the collapse. This is the same view as we saw before internally, the steel beam and the deteriorated, starting to collapse area. This is present day. It goes out. If anything, it's probably gotten worse since we've been out there from August 28th.
Well, that truss there, if you look at it from the southerly direction, across the building, it's under such tremendous stress. It's bent like a compound bow ready to snap. It's kind of in an S, so it's very hazardous. A lot of stress on the building and that truss. I think we have a picture of it. You may be able to see it. Or maybe not.
No. There's a lot of pictures. I just wanted to keep it as sweet and short and sweet as possible. The collapsed building is a collapsed building, but this is the worst of it. Again, this is the graphic that Wayne had up here. This is just identifying the extreme areas of failure and some kind of snippet about what's going on in there for the truss bays 1 and 2, experiencing total failure, complete collapse. In this general area here, there's 1 and 2. Truss Bay 3, experiencing total failure as well. Truss purlin in Bay 5 in here, experiencing horizontal shear failure. And then this is another photo here, again dated August 28th. And this is an aerial in the 2016 or 2024, February 16th, 2024 image. So you can kind of see where that failure rippling was here, the most recent aerial shot. You can see that this is where the main failure areas are, and it's just going to get worse around. You can see bowing in this area as well, starting to take place. That's all we have for this.
I want to thank the fire department for bringing the ladder out. That was a big help in, determining the extent of the collapse. We couldn't have done it, without that and the images of the aerial view from the ladder. That's all we have, unless you have any questions.
I just, real quick, I just wanted to clarify something. First, I'm stunned. I mean, I can't believe they would even let us, myself and Commissioner Hewitt, inside that building the last week of April, or anybody that was interested in leasing that building. Very, very dangerous. And I'm glad that you didn't fall through the roof while you were up there.
Right.
You did the initial inspection on the roof on May 6th. And as I stated, Commissioner Hewitt and myself were in there a week earlier, and I thought I saw a sliver of light. So it's just amazing to see over a week and a half how that changed. May 7th, when you emailed them, did they respond? Did you get any response?
We never got a response.
Our department did not.
Okay. And then, May 23rd, with all the recommendations, I'm assuming your department didn't receive a response when you directly. So that's, to me, that's extremely troubling. You know, you're going to have people that are going to come in there potentially to lease this stuff. That's really scary. Thank you.
And I believe, if I may, it's being currently used for storage. When we went out there for site inspection, a couple different users out in the airport had different use of storage out
Yes,
there.
I observed that as well.
There's actually more out there stored than when you and I were there,
Wow.
right when you walk in the front door.
Yeah.
The only question I have, I don't know if you can answer it, Wayne. Might have to go to, he left, the construction official. You mentioned that it's a gated area, but it's not. Now, I'm looking at, we own it, they lease it, I'm looking at liabilities here. That gatehouse is open during the workday. Should something be done to make sure that gate, because there's access to the one operating building over on the left that you can see as you go down Ledden Avenue, is it going into Vernon and stuff? Is there something we should do, something the city should do?
I talked to Sam Cruz about getting our, fence up there to fence off the building
The front of it?
around the collapsed building. Right
Okay.
now, we have, caution tape and
Yeah.
stickers on the building from the construction official, red tags. It's all ribboned off, right now. The plan is to bring our fence over there to further,
Okay.
cordon it off. I don't know if we have enough fence to go around the whole thing, to be honest with you.
I don't think so.
No.
Sam
I
mentioned
think
we
what
don't.
should probably happen is Brock should probably review the lease again and see who's responsible for doing that, because I'm pretty sure it's them.
For securing it, correct?
Well, I mean, it's the
Yes.
way that lease is set up, they basically
It's
own it
theirs,
and pay us
yes.
nothing, but.
Yeah, it's theirs.
There are new locks on the building doors, but there's gaping holes in the side of the wall, so anybody could crawl right in.
Well, as with any other landowner that allows a dangerous condition to subsist, the city does have the right to go in and put tape or other security so somebody isn't injured.
I'm just curious as how we lien our own property when they're the ones responsible
Yeah,
for it.
that's why
That
I
makes it a little
just
different.
wanted on the record.
Well, I appreciate it, engineering. I always love your acronyms and attributes to what your true job does and entail. So, you guys all continuously do a good job, and thankfully you're still standing here on 2 feet, as Michelle noted many times.
Yeah.
That we were there on the roof, so it's an eye opener, and I hope the public can see and understand what takes place at the DRBA owned lease property.
You guys are a little detail oriented.
Thank you.
Team effort.
Yep.
Even on the roof, I stayed on it.
Bills, please.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the following minutes and to proceed with the regular order of business. August 2024 work session, August 2024 regular meeting.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second of the reading of the minutes. Sorry, lost the words. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
And Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Public comment on agenda items only. If anybody would like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and concerns, and please limit them to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Tim Cardy, Millville. I want to speak on the presentation on the Nab Avenue by the county commissioner, director. I just got a couple questions, and I see that him and the county engineer both left. Before we go spending any money on designs, and Commissioner Sui, I know how much you don't like spending money. Maybe somebody can mention to them about a contractor design build. And what that is streamlines the process by having both the design and the construction in a single contract. That way, we're saving money. We don't have to pay them anything for the design because it'll automatically be in the construction. So what would happen is, in the contract, the contractor would be responsible for also the design. So they would have to hire their own engineering company. So that way, you don't have your construction bid and then your design bid. It's all equaled into one, which would save us money. Now, I know the Parkway and the Turnpike's been doing it for quite a few years, and the Department of Transportation is actually starting a project in the near future on Route 50 between Route 49 in Tuckahoe and Route 9 in Seville on a bridge. It saves money. Not only does it save money, it will save time. And then it will find even more cost-effective solutions. So before anybody starts talking about us paying for anything, the county really needs to start looking at the design build. Because that way you won't have any other additional cost of, well, I need a change order number 3 because of this issue or that issue. No, it falls back on the contractor. So maybe you can run that by your county engineer and your county commissioners, that they should be looking into a contractor design build. And I'm sure if they don't know what it is, they can contract Department of Transportation or the Turnpike Authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardy.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Lauer. I live on Cedar Street. About the presentation for the Nab Avenue deal, maybe I misunderstood, but I expected a presentation. All I got was a guy got you to ask a couple questions back and forth. I didn't see a map. I don't understand who it's for, who it serves better at all. I got really limited information, so I'd like to think before you ever vote on this, and maybe we can just get a little bit more of an actual presentation. And again, maybe I misunderstood your terminology, but I got nothing from that. And maybe before we consider spending that money, there's a lot of things laying around town that could be have money spent on. I know people have talked before about all the branches laying around in the street. It's been all summer. They're turning brown. They're probably going to become fire hazards. Let's take care of them first.
Yeah, it's a county project. It would be a county road, not a municipal road.
I understand.
The city's not going to be spending any money.
Okay.
The county's going to be spending money.
That part where we're talking about, the developer that wants to develop part of the airport is willing to pay that part.
No, I understand. I understand. My concern was about the road, its function, who it'll serve. I don't really understand much about the project.
Yeah, there was a presentation by the county at the Renters Cooperative, right?
Yeah, and again, the guy didn't stick around for 0 questions from us, so I'm sure some
tried.
people have other questions as well.
I tried.
I know you did. Thank you very much. I do appreciate
They'll be
that.
more forthcoming. We're not ready to vote on anything yet.
Great. Thank you very much.
Carol Constable, Millville. I was going to save this one for last at the end, but on this Nab Avenue, Millville needs to just say no to the county's idea that we contribute 10 million or whatever figure they come up with. The Nab Avenue extension project is underfunded. Millville cannot afford to prop up an ill-advised county project, and Millville simply does not have the money. If the county cannot afford the project, how will they maintain a road with heavy truck traffic? They cannot afford to maintain the county roads already built. Let the county do a GoFundMe page or a campaign if they want it so badly. Thank you.
Seeing no one else, I will close the public comment on agenda items only. Old business.
Okay, I just need a motion to receive and file the letter dated August 19, 2024 from the Millville Planning Board concerning resolution number 208-2024 and resolution number 217-2024.
Make a motion?
Second motion. We have a motion and a second on old business. Item number 1, I guess. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ranello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Petitions and letters.
We have none, Mayor.
Reports of commissioners. Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes. School's back. I can't believe my grandson's ready to go. he's chomping at the bit. The police activities for the summer naturally have stopped. PAL fishing, in conjunction with Sam Cruz and Commissioner Ranello, to play streets and everything. It was a very good year. Kudos to my departments all the way through. Fire, police, rescue. Been a busy couple of weeks. I know you guys are working, you're working your tails off, and I thank you. People that see it, thank you. That's about it. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt. Commissioner Watson.
I do have the report from Streets and Roads for the end of August. 81 tires were collected, 20 appliances were collected, 250 electronics were received, 259 street sweeping tickets were issued, 4,338 bags of loose leaves and grass clippings were collected. Catch basin repair and permanent patch across from 205 Burns Road was complete. Catch basin repair at 10 Buck Street was complete. The sinkhole repair at 3rd and Garrison's complete. Permanent patch at 6th and Garrison's complete. Utility patch at 144 Carmel Road is complete. Brush pile at the compost facility has been ground up and hauled away. Grading and compacting brush pile at the area of the compost facility was completely done. Fencing around the retention pond at the end of Airwork Street is complete. Center Island on Chickadee, Goldfinch, Mallard, Quail, and Dove Lane at Union Lake have been cut back. Curb painting on High from the police building to Broad Street is complete. Brush collection started today. Residents were to place brush out to the curb the last 2 weeks of August for September collection. If anybody has any questions regarding any of those items, please call Streets and Roads at 856-825-7000, extension 7388. With that, I do have a report from our recycling coordinator. In August, we replaced 13 damaged carts, meaning trash carts, 10 missing or stolen carts. We delivered carts to 5 residents who did not previously have them. We exchanged 3 sets of carts for residents who wanted smaller ones. Residents purchased 12 carts. 35 notices of violation were issued in August. Last week, our recycling coordinator attended a meeting with the DEP for illegal dumping cameras. We're going to get 2 dumping cameras loaned from the DEP. We have 2 primary locations that we're looking at right now that they're going to go up for night and day pictures. Those pictures are going to be emailed to our recycling coordinator. He wants to make sure that we remind city residents to make sure you sort through your recyclables as you're supposed to, as the county has a new machine. Sign up for the Recycling Coach app, and that's about it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Watson. You can get a different size tote, the 96 gallon ones. Do you know the gallon size?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't know you could get a different size trash.
It's for seniors that don't.
Smaller. Got
I
it.
don't know if there's a difference in cost.
Okay.
Like us.
I think it's $75 for the normal size card, so I'm not too sure what the small one is.
Got it. Didn't know. Now you know. Commissioner Ranella.
Yes, for those of you who use social media, you may have seen a flyer going around for the last couple of weeks. Before I was appointed to this commission, a family came to the Parks Department who had been raising funds for a slide and a spinner in Union Lake Park. So it's really amazing how many people in this community have come together to make this happen. We officially ordered the slide and the spinner. We want to thank everybody who helped this family achieve their goal. We'll have a celebration once the pieces are installed and give a shout out to all the businesses, individuals, and groups who made this happen. I think it's really wonderful, and we should really focus on the wonderful things that our community does when they work together. Holly City Fest, unfortunately I couldn't make it. It's the one event that I didn't attend, but I plan to be at every other one. It was very successful. 70 vendors who attended, 8 food vendors, 3 live bands. I watched one of the live streams of it. A lot of people were sharing photos. It appeared that everybody had a wonderful time. If you missed Holly City Fest this year, like myself, the 2025 calendar, it's already set, Saturday, August 30th of next year. Upcoming events, summer is out, fall's coming in, and as long as the weather holds off, this Saturday, we're having a community mural painting in Buck Park. It's the parking lot right across from Captain Buck there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You don't have to be an artist. It's taking place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be a paint-by-number style, so everybody come down and join in on the fun. We're hoping that the rain stays away so we could pull this off. The Downtown Car Show will take place on Saturday, September 14th. That's going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. City of Millville is super excited to be holding this event this year. We have a DJ, 2 live bands slated for this year's car show, along with several vendors. Still plenty of time to enter your car if you haven't done so. And towards the end of the month, on Saturday, September 28th, one of my favorite things, the Millville Baby Show. Millville Recreation is doing that. All children must be 4 years or younger, and they have to be from Millville. If you should have any questions on any of these events, please contact the Millville Recreation Department, 856-825-7000, extension 7394. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Ranello. Vice Mayor Sui.
Yes, first of all, I want to address Pleasant Drive. So unfortunately, we had to extend that award time till next year to award the contract to pay Pleasant Drive. Part of that is due to water line replacement. That needs to be done because it's old transite pipe that needs to be replaced under the DEP guidelines for water main replacements. So that's going to, obviously, we don't want to put the road down and dig it up again. So we're going to do the water first, and then we're going to pave the road. So it's delayed till next year. Doesn't make me happy, but it is what it is. The Mill Yard Riverfront Public Information Session is set for Tuesday, September 10th, from 5 to 9 here to obtain feedback and answer your questions and discuss concerns of the project. Now, one thing about that project is that was applied for before we were in office. I posted it on Facebook. Somebody mentioned, wanted to know who the anonymous poster was. It was me, because I couldn't get it to post any other way. So if I could have got it to post under my name, I would have done so. So that was applied for before we took office. I inquired about not taking the grant because we have problems maintaining what we have. Problem is, it's a New Jersey DOT grant, and if we send that grant back, you'll see an $1.1 million grant for Pleasant Drive. If we tell them we don't want to do a project that we already have a grant for, I don't think they're going to take that very kindly, and we probably won't get grants to do our roads. So we're kind of stuck with it at this point. We didn't ask for it, we didn't create it, but it's there nevertheless. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Sui. I have an update regarding the annual comprehensive annual performance evaluation of housing and urban development. Will be on September 27th, the draft of the city program year 2023 comprehensive annual performance evaluation, the CDBG program that we commonly give reference and notion to beginning of the year process. Report for the CDBG program will be available for inspection on the city website and in person on the 5th floor of City Hall from Thursday, September 5th, this Thursday, through Wednesday, September 25th. A public hearing on the draft 2023 report will be held at 4 p.m. Thursday, September 19th, here in the city chambers. Written comments for the reports may be submitted until 4 p.m. September 25th. Written comments should be addressed to the Department of Community Development, 12 South High Street, P.O. Box 609, Millville, New Jersey. As I said prior, that our legislators in throughout the state in LD1 and LD2 have issued comments regarding the BPU and what has taken place. And I quote, this is from Senator Michael Testa: "Instead of fighting to keep utility prices low as we deal with an affordability crisis, the BPU has instead chosen to abandon their mission of protecting ratepayers. Now, New Jerseyans are being forced to bear another financial burden as Atlantic City Electric takes more of their hard-earned income with their shocking utility prices that are 2, 3, or even 4 times their normal bill." I know it's been gaining a lot of traction on Facebook with other people, newscasters even, reaching out of their outrageously high increases into their electric bill, even though it was a generally warm, but concurrent to other summers that we had in past. That why it happened, who knows, but Legislator's Office is calling on to the BPU, Board of Public Utilities, to the state of New Jersey. Holly City Fest was an outstanding event. You could see just in 2 years that last year when it was the first time of the event to this year, the second annual, such a vast improvement, great improvement of how it was attended, all the people that attended, how the Parks Department operated during this event, and Police Department, everybody else involved. It was outstanding. I was there from 10:30 to 3 o'clock before it started to once it ended. Talked to almost every single vendor. You could see some of the clips with on Quinn Broadcasting that I interviewed of those people. It wasn't just knickknacks and jewelry for sale. There was organic pet food. And I didn't know that. I guess I could have organic pet food, but made fresh every 30 days and locally here in Egg Harbor, and they came up to here. I was proud to know that our Parks Department and with Salmon Brook reached out to people. It wasn't just they saw the flyer and came out, wanted to sign up. So who knows, out of those 77 that were registered and only 70 came, but I give ultimate kudos to Salmon Brook for getting this event taken care of and how efficiently it was run. I look forward to next year. I think it's going to be an even better time than what happened here last Saturday. Also coming up is our grievance ceremony for 9/11. That is on 9/11. Obviously, that's at 6 p.m. Am I right, Commissioner?
Yes.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Buck Park. In event of rain, it would be held at the fire station, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Hope to see the public there. We remember that fateful day all those years ago. Other than that, business and city is working well together. I appreciate Commissioner Watson's due diligence on this move that we have. Progress. Ordinances in the second reading.
Okay, we have one, which is an ordinance authorizing amendment to motor vehicle and traffic regulations, Municipal Code Article 10, Schedule 21, to add parking reserved for handicapped persons at 412 West Foundry Street.
Make a motion?
Second motion.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance in the first reading. Item number 1. Any comments? Roll call, please.
We have to have a public hearing.
No. Public
Second
hearing.
reading, not first reading.
This is ordinance. Oh, sorry, I skipped myself.
No worries.
There is ordinance in the second reading. First item. We have a public hearing on this amendment, on this ordinance. If anybody would like to address the commission regarding this, please come to the podium, state your name, and your concerns. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Now we move on to ordinances in the first reading.
Okay, item 1 is an ordinance appropriating certain unexpended proceeds of the sale of previously issued bonds and notes to finance the cost of the additional water utility improvements and taking related actions.
Move the ordinance on first reading with second reading to be on September 18th.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance in the first reading, item number 1. Any comments?
Yeah, so occasionally when we do projects, we bond for the projects. At the end of the project, when we're lucky and good, we have money left over. So this is to reappropriate that money for other work that needs to be done.
Understood. Roll call, please.
I think the next meeting's the 17th, is that correct?
17th?
I think
Correct,
so.
yes.
Yeah, okay,
Today's the
I just
second.
want
Third.
Third?
to, pretty sure it's the 17th.
It's not 14 days away, it's 13 days away.
Okay,
17th.
okay.
Okay. Thank you for the correction.
No worries, okay. Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 2 is an ordinance amending unexpended proceeds, ordinance number 7-2016, finally adopted on February 23rd, 2016, to reappropriate certain unexpended proceeds of the sale of previously issued bonds and notes to finance the cost of water utility capital improvements and taking related actions.
Move the ordinance on first reading with second reading on the 17th.
17th.
17.
That's what I said, this time.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on ordinance on the first reading, item number 2. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Consent agenda items.
All right, so all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Board of Commissioners and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a governing body member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing water sewer termination on September 30th, 2024, due to failure to comply with the utility ordinance pursuant to Section 56-18 of the Municipal Code. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing water sewer termination on October 7th, 2024, due to failure to comply with the utility ordinance pursuant to Section 56-18 of the Municipal Code. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing adjustments to the tax and utility records, and I just need a motion to approve those items.
Make a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolutions, please.
All right, item 1 is a resolution appointing Joanna Webster as Deputy Municipal Clerk for a 3-year term beginning September 3rd, 2024, and expiring September 2nd, 2027.
Move the resolution.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 1. Any comments?
Yes, I'm always delighted when we can promote somebody from within. It doesn't always happen, the qualifications aren't always there. Sometimes we can make those qualifications happen, so I know Joanna, you're back there listening. So,
Wave to the camera.
I will, say congratulations and anticipating of the vote passing.
Yes, it's getting to learn and know about what our clerks and assistant clerks do daily is such a great need and importance to the overall well-being and effortness of the city to work as a collective whole. So I believe this will pass, and Joanna will be happy back there.
Well deserved.
Well deserved, yes.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 2 is a resolution amending resolution number 253-2024 with County Conservation Company for an additional amount of $1,750 in a new not-to-exceed cost of $30,640 for additional brush grinding that was collected at the time a contractor began the work.
Make a motion, and with that, I do have the certification of availability of funds signed by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones, in the amount of $1,750.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 2. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a purchase order with EMS Consulting Services for third-party medical billing services for EMS services with an estimated amount not to exceed $35,000.
Make motion, and with that, I have certification and availability of funds in the amount of $35,000, certified by our Chief Financial Officer, Susan Quinones.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 3. Any comments?
Yes. This is the same contractor who's been working with us for a while. They're very successful. It shows in the billing, it shows in the income that we have coming into the city for our EMS services.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a purchase order with Trojan Technologies for the purchase of UV lamps in an estimated amount not to exceed $43,948.94.
Move the resolution. I have certification of funds in the amount of $43,948.94, signed by the CFO, Susan Quinones.
Second motion?
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 4. Any comments?
Yes, particular thanks to Mr. Joy, our sewer plant superintendent. He bargained with these guys to get this price almost, I think, knocked in half. So it's a substantial savings to our sewer ratepayers. And thanks again, Sal, and I'm glad you came to the meeting.
Yes, thank you, Sal. I remember you talking about this briefly in your previous presentation on how this would help with the sewer treatment at the sewer water plant. So thank you once again. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vernello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution approving change order number 2 with Rambo Concrete LLC for the High Street Downtown Sidewalk Phase 1 project in an additional amount of $14,340 with a new total of $199,962.
Make a motion, and with that, I have certification of funds in the amount of $14,340 from our CFO, Susan Quinones.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 5. Any comments?
Yes, this is, what this is exactly is the ramps at the curbs down High Street between Main and Mulberry.
This is paid for through UEZ money.
Correct.
I might add. So that's UEZ money coming back to us from sales tax in the area.
Thank you for the clarification. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 6 is a resolution approving a water tower lease agreement with T-Mobile Northeast LLC for the lease of space for cellular antenna system located at 416 Orange Street at a monthly rental fee of $2,000 per month or $24,000 per year for the initial 5-year term.
Move the resolution.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 6. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 7 is a resolution rejecting all 9 bids for the project known as work uniforms so the contracting unit can substantially revise the specifications for the goods or services.
Move the resolution.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on resolution item number 7. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
New business.
Just need a motion to authorize the city clerk to advertise for bids for the following project, Woodland Avenue water improvements.
Make a motion.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second on new business item number 1. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Vanello?
Yes.
Mayor Romanek?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
We have now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone who would like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name, and address your concerns. Please limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes. Thank you.
Doug Albrecht, County Commissioner from Vineland. I'll leave the Nab Avenue away for a second, but I just want to urge and this is not, Nab Avenue isn't done in a vacuum. It was designed as an economic development project, and it was in cooperation with the city of Millville. The economic development director at the time, the city of Millville, approached us about being partners with it. It's a partnership. There are a lot of questions you guys have. That's right. We have had done a lot of work to get to this point. I think 2012 was when the first study was done to do this. It's 2024, and it still hasn't been done. But at the time we started discussing that Nav Avenue, it was to be not a stick approach, but a carrot approach with the one farm that's in the middle of it, was to use a carrot to them and say how much, and this is a rate comparison, I'm using his words more than mine, but they would own the property that would have a light at 49. They would own the corners, so they would create revenue for them. They also would allow us to go, we did have to spend money to find the route, which was the best, which is a straight line. Our county engineer isn't here anymore, but if this road is not fast enough or quick enough, those trucks are not going down this road. They're going to still stick to the road right through town like they are doing now. And the goal is to get them on the western side of the river and the western side of the airport to do their business. That this gentleman or this business that's donating the $400,000, as far as talk out of school because I don't know who it is, but there was one gentleman that had was going to build multi-building, 25 buildings, and decided to only build one because they had no way to get their truck traffic out of the city. So and it was told to us without doing that. That's what made Nav Avenue even more important, because he's not going to do any more buildings except that one building. Now, if you can't, you have a budget, you have a tight budget, you have a budget that the only way to build down to that is ratables. And this road, which is just a straight road, that's how it was designed. It will have a roundabout on the Buck Shootem Road, which will be on their property, another property, part of their donation to this project. And we have to negotiate that price. We haven't even come up with a price from these guys yet because we didn't know where the route was going to be. We had to decide where the route was going to be in order to start deciding what it's going to cost to build the road in order to come up with a price that they're going to demand, and we have to go back and forth. To dismiss this, the idea is it's not just for development of Millville, which is going to be the focal point, but it's Commercial Township, it's Morrisburg Township, it's Fairfield, it's Lawrence Township. That's what I see. That's why I see the county playing a role in this. It's our road, but playing a role is to help economic development on that side of the airport, that side of Buck Shootem Road, that whole western side of western side of Millville. That's what makes Nab Avenue so important. Now, real point I wanted to get to this. I'm happy to answer any question I can. I'm out of the loop, but I'm the one to kind of start it with Ray Caperi to get this going, and this commission to get this going. That's how important it was that we thought it was important to the county to be a partner. Now, tonight, and I say that why I'm getting up here is that airport is a diamond in the rough, and you guys, it's your airport, it's your diamond that I believe that the county has a role. And my director and my other colleague was here, but had a discussion, and I guess they met with you to talk about it. Is that we want to dust that airport off. Right now, it's not possible. The Delaware Bay Authority, being the people running this, and it's a big deal. This is not an easy decision, and I just want to say to this commission, I would like you to ponder, because that just a perfect example of that building falling down. It's when I was little, that airport looks like when I was small walking onto the airport. Maybe the building's changed a little bit. I know there's a brewery on it and stuff, but it's not changed, and that's the problem. That it's not going to change. 30 years from now, we'll probably be looking back when we're falling over. That this is we had a chance, an opportunity to take it back. What encouraged me the most is that I think we're behind, and I'm saying, and I'll take it as a county, we're behind, but Cape May, who I think is ahead of us, has decided that they're going to kick them out because they won't listen to them or do what they ask them to do. A simple thing of taking some of the land they have other ideas for, they won't even let them do it. And they begged them. They even went to Delaware to ask them to say, we don't want you out of here. Just work with us. They treated them like crap. And that building falling down says to me the same thing. They treat us like crap here. So now, I'll say this, and I'm going to say it from the county. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for my colleagues, but I had spoken to them that we want to say that we're behind you. Whatever decision you guys make, we'll be behind you. I've asked, and I'm saying to the commissioners because I've spoken to different ones, our assembly people understand it. Our senator understands it. Our congressman understands it. But we're not doing Nab Avenue in a vacuum. Nab Avenue is part of this idea that the airport could be dusted off. Sewer and water projects are not done in a vacuum. It's the idea that development may come from what we're doing at Nab Avenue and the airport. Our middle mile project, I just don't want to do the middle mile. The idea, I'm sorry, just tell me to be quiet. The middle mile project is to add the communication that when these companies decide that Millville's the place to be, or Commercial Township's the place to be, or Fairfield's the place to be, that they can communicate. They have sewer and water that they can operate. So we've done all the building blocks at one time, ahead of time, instead of being behind.
Thank you, Doug. I know you were very passionate about this, and we could see your exuberance. But
thank you.
I think we have some other residents.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hi, Cindy Cook, Val Lane, Millville. I don't know if most of you know, but I am Millville's representative for the Homeless Trust Fund. Wednesday, I received a communication that they have updated the county homeless and at-risk guide. I sent Jeannie an email. I hope she got it. Now, this also includes not just for our county, but it also has, like, for people at risk of losing their electricity, who to contact in New Jersey, or, you know, it's all these agencies. If anybody here is interested, I do have the QR code on my phone. I'll be glad to let you scan the QR code now. Or if anybody out there is listening and they want it, they can send me a message, private message on Facebook, Cindy Stanger Cook on Facebook, or Clean Starts John 612. And I will be glad to send a QR code if anybody is in need of this information to help somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Roy Shepard, Millville. I was hoping the county was maybe possibly going to stay around for a little bit. My question is, how much is the county requesting the city to, I guess, pay for this project? I've heard a lot of different numbers. I don't know what to believe. So my question is, how much is the county requesting that the city contributes on that part of it? I think the Nab Avenue is a good project. We got a new and upcoming industrial park out there. How it's going to be accessed, I think, is a big thing. The freight that's going to come through the city of Millville, it's a bottleneck, as many know, coming up through where Blinkers Custard is. I think coming off 55 to Sherman Avenue, I think it's a way better route and gets all that traffic out of the city of Millville. So I think it would benefit the city of Millville to do a project like this. I don't know the numbers of what it is. I know it's been kicked around for a long time. So I'd like to hear some ideas from the commission where you guys sit on things. We haven't heard too much about where everybody thinks if it's a good idea or not. But I know we are planning to have an industrial park out there. And what kind of people are we going to put in these spots? I know there's a 500,000 square foot building that was talked about a while ago. I'm sure in a 500,000 square foot building, you're going to have a lot of freight that's going to come and go. I guess it's going to come from truck. Is it going to come from planes that come in and out of the Millville Airport? I don't know. But I'm sure that somebody that's going to put a 500,000 square foot warehouse building of some sort is going to want to have some sort of access to get to their facility on Buckshootum Road. So there are just a couple questions that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you, Roy.
Good evening, Tim Speroni, Millville. Just for some clarification, as far as the Nab Avenue project, the only thing the county is asking from the city of Millville, which you said you have a developer willing to put up, is $400,000. It's a county project that they're paying for, right?
Well, you know, I'd like to get that firmed up from the county, who's paying for what, and that'll be
Okay.
determined, I'm sure.
All right, I just needed some clarification because I heard these crazy numbers, $10 million. I mean, I've never heard that. So I just wanted, so hopefully we can get some answers quick. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
Carol Constable, Millville. First off, I want to recognize the EMS and the fire department. Recently, we had to use the EMS at our Millville Elks on Thursday evening. A fellow bingo person had a seizure and fell and hit her head, and they were promptly there. The other one for the fire department, I have to just say kudos. My son and daughter-in-law's parents, Sharon and Don Luis, asked me to speak on their behalf. They had a fire, and had it not been for Millville Fire Department, they probably would have lost everything. And your fire department stayed there until everything was taken care of. There was one person there. So I just want to shout out kudos to the fire department and the EMS. So with that said, just last meeting, there were apparently several of our city employee unions are working without a contract. And it was noted that their money raise, those raises are already in the city budget, and it may not be what they want, but it's there. And having served on negotiations for over 16 years with the MEA, I know this is not an easy task to settle contracts, especially when money is tight. But we never left a negotiation session without scheduling a date for the next one. That to us was only common sense. Do we currently have any of these scheduled for those that are out of waiting to hear? That's my one thing. And then another commissioner stated, we strive to do our best for our citizens, community, and especially our employees with contracts, negotiations, and stuff. And then they said, by the way, does any of our city government know when we last had a raise? 1960 or 70 was that number given. It was noted as a fun fact. Really? I think that was saying you're really not valuing our persons that work for our city. And for any city commissioner, you have a choice. If you do not like your pay, you don't run again. The city workers don't have that choice. They're working to support their families. We all know the economy is tight. Please get negotiation talks started again and get those contracts settled with retro pay for our city workers. Actions does speak louder than words. And here's a fun fact. Did you know how Millville got its name? In 1790, plans for future mills and factories were developed, and Millville began to grow from the labors of those mill and factory workers. Millville continues to function today because the backbone of this community has dedicated city employees, and that's a fact. Thank you.
Paul Barreca, Millville. Goes to you. Airport. Is it hysterical or historical? And does that affect what you do with the building?
Mr. Brecker, you're addressing the commission.
Yes.
Is that your question towards the commission? You said you, and you pointed at the engineer.
Yeah. Is the airport deemed historical? And
Parts
does,
of it.
What's that?
Parts of it.
There's a historical zone.
Right. So does that affect what can be done with that building that's collapsing?
I don't believe that one is in the zone.
So it can be torn down. Yeah, that was the only thing that didn't get touched
I
on.
don't believe it is. I can double check, but I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if it's inside the fence, it's probably in that historic
I don't
area.
think, yeah, but they separate it out like the theater and then, I don't know. Well, I'll check and get back to you.
Yeah, because that's kind of important. And then the only other thing that pops into my head, being a landlord, is that nearly 100% of the time, liability switches back to the owner rather than the tenant.
You should read this lease.
Yeah. So the lease is an agreement between
Yeah, you should read it.
the owner and the tenant, which becomes a different case in law. So
Open that lease and read it. You'll be very surprised.
yeah, so very interesting. But Millville's got to be real careful about the liability that would attach to them as the owner of the property rather than the lessee. And when does the lease expire?
35 more years. No, 5 more
It
years.
expires in 5 years, but notice of intent to terminate is due in October.
Right. Well, 5 years gives you enough time to kind of iron out who's going to be responsible for the demolition of the building. Because if they get out of the lease earlier than you tear down the building, then it's going to be another problem of liability.
Again, please read that lease. Please read it. Please read it.
It's going to be a rough one, but
It is like a fairy tale.
yeah, it's something that kind of needs to be taken care of rather quickly before something does fall on somebody. and creates a liability for the owner rather than the tenant.
Please, read it. You're good at reading that stuff. You read that and you're gonna go in here and I can't believe anybody ever signed it.
That's the problem. It's probably poorly written for the benefit of the city. But the part that I didn't know was whether or not it was historical. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Pareca. Seeing no one else, I will close the public comment portion. Closing comments of commissioners. Commissioner Hewitt.
Not much I can answer here with the thoughts and stuff that were brought forward. Carol, thank you for your thoughts and comments on the fire department. As we all know, nobody gets to say that it doesn't happen with the fire department or anybody in public safety. And again, thank you for the kudos, and I pass on my kudos. Nab Avenue, I'm out of the loop. The only thing I would ask as a commissioner is maybe we can look into scheduling an actual session with the commissioners, with who can come for questions and answers. I mean, the commissioners represent us. Commissioner Albrecht's been here the whole meeting. They represent us. I would ask that maybe we look at that to be able to just answer some questions on Nab Avenue and such, you know. Other than that, progress, and see you in a couple of weeks.
Commissioner Watson. Thank you. Go ahead, Brooks. Excuse
May I
me.
add something? There was a presentation given by the former Director of Economic Development to the public.
Yeah.
And I think the title of it was why the western side of the river has never been fully developed. And I think that there was a lot of discussion about the fact that it has poor transportation infrastructure, and it was necessary to have a alternative way to get to the west side of the river. And Nab Avenue was the logical answer to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I remember something, Brock, now that you said that. I think Ray did.
We got a nice handout and everything.
Yeah. So,
There's just
yeah,
a
maybe
lot
we
of,
can
there are a lot of questions.
Revisit it and inform the public. I do agree. Maybe with more minute information from county and us combined on that. But I do agree. Maybe it'll happen. Commissioner Watson.
No, thank you. Good.
Commissioner Ranella.
Yeah, I have a couple things. As Vice Mayor Stewie said, there's going to be a meeting here about the new trail proposal. I agree with Vice Mayor Stewie here. I think that it's kind of a pickle. This isn't something that I definitely wouldn't have voted yes to this. This is a previous commission. It's going to take a lot of resources to maintain that I don't believe we have. And not really thrilled about being put in that position, to be quite honest. That aside, positive note, it's been an amazing summer, and we've had a lot of amazing activities that have taken place here throughout our city. And it, not to be a cliche, but it really does take a village, seeing all of our departments work together. Parks and all the men and women of our Parks Department, they have been amazing to make all of these events take place. Working with Police Department, our Fire Department coming up after Mr. Foamtastic leaves to wash the streets to make sure that nobody slips. It's just amazing seeing all of our departments work together for the better of our city. And I hope it just stays that way. I like that. And with that, looking forward to the fall events and looking forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ranella. Vice Mayor Suey.
First of all, nothing exists in this city in a vacuum. Employees don't exist in a vacuum. The tax base doesn't exist in a vacuum. None of it exists in a vacuum. It's all very interrelated, and you have to be wise enough to see the big picture. So yes, we want to fairly compensate our employees. We want to maintain the trails. We want to fix the roads. We want to do all the things that you want us to do. So how do you do that? There are two ways to do it. Two, raise your taxes, in which case it would be unaffordable to do all that, or get development in this city. So to get development in this city, particularly at the airport, you're going to need Nab Avenue. The ratables that will come in because of that, the ones that are proposed, that you will be getting a presentation from a developer probably in the next month or two. So you really need the industrial development. Housing, I'm sure that will be addressed as the industrial development grows and jobs are created, which is something else we want, right? Jobs. So that's why Nab Avenue is important. So we're fortunate enough that the developer that's coming in here, we negotiated with him to put a RAB together, which is a revenue or rehabilitation area bond. So, but it's a bond that they pay for to get this project done. So if we can continue to do that, it's not going to affect your tax rate. It will affect the developer, and you know, the developer realizes that he needs that road. You know, as somebody said, a 500,000 square foot building is the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg in the industrial park. That's why it's so important. That's why I call members of the county commission and I complain that it's not going fast enough. And you know, Doug and I agree on some things, we don't agree on other things, but on this one we definitely agree. So we're making improvements to the sewer plant so that we can handle our Millville's estimated expanded capacity. We got a great sewer plant operator. We got a great engineering department that makes all this stuff happen. As for paying the employees, yes, money is put in the budget every year for raises. And that includes years that aren't negotiated yet. Now, I know everybody wants to make more money, but how much more money do you guys want to pay? So if we don't get development in here, those raises will always be limited. And Nab Avenue is very, very important to that, to getting that done. I can't tell you why it wasn't done 20 years ago. A blind man can see that it needs to be done. You don't want the truck traffic through town, and developers want the fastest way to Route 55 that they can have. It's certainly not going through 20 traffic lights to get to Route 55. It's going boom, straight out, cross Morton Avenue to Sherman Avenue and jump on 55. That's why it's important. Upcoming, you guys should have received an email today from the CFO about the budget. So I advise you to meet with your department heads. I advise you to make sure that the stuff you want is in there, especially if it's something that has to be bonded like a fire truck. Because if it's not in there, then the money required for the down payment on the bond won't be in the budget and you won't be able to do it. So make sure it's in there, make sure you look at it before you vote on it. Something that hasn't always been done by every commissioner in the past. I urge you to do that. Take advantage and meet with the CFO. You guys should go down there every once in a while just to find out what's going on. Call her, find out what's going on. Email her, find out what's going on. But please do that. It's very important, especially when you want new equipment and new projects. Sometimes we can get them, most of the time we can get them if we plan ahead for them. With that, I'm trying to think of a diplomatic way to say this, which is not in my forte usually, but I'm going to try. So when you have a question about what a public employee does, before you come to a meeting and criticize what that employee does, you have the offer from me, if it's anyone in my department, to meet with them. And they will show you what they do. And then if you want to come here and criticize, have at it. You know, but please, give us and give that employee the opportunity to show you what they do. That's only fair to them. It's only fair to you. You know, you have one time, we're criticizing employees, we want to give them raises. It's everybody, you know, if you look at everybody, it's all over the place. So that way we can keep people on the same place. You know, I'd love to have the best paid police department in the country, and best paid fire department, and the best paid public employees, because we would get the best people. But it's only possible if we stand firm and hard on economic development. If you don't do that, you're going to be sitting here looking at an empty airport for another 75 years, like we've been looking at it for the past 75 years. The whole reason of putting the presentation together for the building at the airport was to show you guys that the DRBA is not taking care of the buildings. So we have upcoming meetings, upcoming negotiations, and we'll address that stuff and we'll see how it works out. And it's, you know, I advise all, you know, guys, please, read that lease. You read it, you're just gonna scratch your head and say, how the hell did Millville ever enter into this lease? They did it because they couldn't run the airport themselves at the time. I don't know if we can do it now or not, but we might be able to find somebody to do it. So we're in ongoing talks with different parties to try to make that happen. Make progress.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. One governing, for instance, I talked to Mayor Abigail O'Brien of Deerfield Township. I said a couple weeks ago of West Side Millville residents having loud noises. Residents, if you do hear them, please call either our police department, and our police department has been well versed into what steps next to do. I've also talked to Lieutenant Batten of New Jersey Fish and Wildlife, because this is Fish and Wildlife property that this event of gathering of individuals does take place, because it is in kind of no man's land between of Millville, Vineland, and Rosenhain. And since Rosenhain doesn't have a police force, it relies on Richardson State Police Barracks to come out there every single time, and they're usually very short-staffed. And the trooper that did come out, and I spoke to once recently, he was from Bordentown, New Jersey, not exactly a local of the surrounding area, but has understood that the state police has hard retention for people in and around this area to work for them. Mr. Shepard, that is called the James R. Hurley Industrial Park. We have that one on the west side. East side is called the Mike Lascardi's Industrial Park. It's still industrial park, but as you can see, like Mike Lascardi's is way more developed. This is why Nab Avenue, we can tie Nab Avenue to many parts of the discussion. It is all to bring development to the west side city industrial park. It will provide exceptional benefits to that airport. Who was talking about the airport? Oh, other than Commissioner Albrecht, you're exactly right. It is a diamond in the rough that we have, and we have to be very careful what we do moving forward with this lease, with what will happen in the future. But as Vice Mayor said, there is happenings right now with meetings that we will have coming shortly. I do appreciate every one of you that come out here tonight. Get to hear your words, your comments, your frustrations. It's how government should operate. We should be here, sitting up here, us those that are elected, and hear what our residents have to say. I wish everyone a very good night. Enjoy the cool weather that we're having. It is pretty cold in here. I didn't have dinner, so maybe that's why I'm a little chilled tonight. Who wants to? You want to? We got to dinner, Tim. We all work hard in our jobs, and I appreciate each and one of my commissioners to continue to do this job, whether you're retired or not. We all work collectively hard and to fulfill our duties as commissioners for the city of Millville. Motion to adjourn, please.
Make a motion?